Picture a set of invisible scales. They exist in the mind of every woman you interact with, whether it's your wife of 20 years, a coworker, or a casual acquaintance. And onto these scales, she is constantly, unconsciously, on an instinctual level, placing your words, your gestures, your decisions, and even your pauses in conversation. On one side of the scales goes everything that speaks of strength, of having a backbone, of confidence. On the other, everything that screams of weakness, anxiety, and insecurity. And the most important thing to understand about these scales is that they do not obey logic. You can be a kind, intelligent, decent, and successful man. But if your behavior contains certain markers, certain habits that we'll talk about today, then in her eyes, on the level of animal instinct, you are a weak man. She will never tell you this directly because it's a social taboo, but she will feel it. And her respect, and with it, her attraction, will begin to slowly but surely melt away, like a glacier under the rays of a merciless sun. 100 years ago, titans of thought like Freud and Jung were the first to dare to look into this dark room of the human psyche and say it plainly. Our strongest reactions are not governed by reason, but by the unconscious. It is there, in the depths, that these scales operate. And today, we're not going to philosophize. We are going to create a brutal, but brutally honest 15-point checklist that will allow you to conduct a full diagnosis of your behavior and learn to speak the language of both her instincts. This won't be just another video. This will be an honest, at times harsh, diagnosis. But if you're ready to hear the truth to become stronger, hit the like button on this video right now, so I know we're on the same page. And if you're new here and not afraid of depth, be sure to subscribe. And before we begin, our geography is very important to me. Please write in the comments what city you're from. Let's see where the most self-aware male audience has gathered. Act I, weakness in communication. The unseen Ephialurus sign, number 1. You apologize too much. Let's draw a clear line right away to avoid any confusion. We're not talking about situations where you are genuinely at fault. You stepped on her foot, forgot an important date, or said something hurtful in the heat of the moment. In these cases, apologizing is a sign not of weakness, but of maturity and being well adjusted. We're talking about something else, about the reflexive, parasitic sorry and my bad that fly out of your mouth automatically, like verbal clutter for no reason at all. It sounds something like this. Instead of just asking a question, you start with a phrase that sounds like an apology. For example, sorry, can I ask something? Instead of expressing your opinion, you preface it with sorry. But I think differently. The most telling example is when someone bumps into you in a crowd, and you instinctively say, "Oh, sorry." You are apologizing for being inconvenienced. This is the very symptom we are talking about. From a psychological standpoint, this is a direct consequence of the so-called good boy syndrome. It's an internal belief that you must be convenient, non-confrontational, and unnoticeable. You subconsciously fear taking up someone's time, disturbing their comfort, or asserting your right to exist. Every such sorry is a small verbal transaction in which you are telling the world, and primarily the woman in front of you, I don't consider myself important enough. I apologize for the very fact of my existence here and now. How does she read this? On an instinctual level, a woman doesn't hear politeness. Politeness is please or thank you. She hears an alarm signal. Her subconscious, honed by millennia of evolution to seek a strong and confident partner, detects your fundamental insecurity in this. In her worldview, a man who constantly apologizes without reason is incapable of protecting, incapable of making a firm decision, and incapable of withstanding pressure. Every unnecessary sorry is another nail you hammer into the coffin of your authority. What can you do about it? Start by monitoring your speech. This requires mindfulness. Catch yourself the moment you're about to utter an automatic sorry, and replace it. Instead of, "Sorry I'm late," say firmly and calmly, "Thank you for your patience." Do you feel how the energy of the phrase changes? The first is from the position of a guilty child. The second is from the position of a grown man who values another's time. Instead of, "Sorry to bother you," say, "Do you have a minute?" This is direct and respectful communication. Your task is to eradicate apologies from your vocabulary for having an opinion, for asking questions, for simply existing. A strong man does not apologize for who he is. He takes his place in the world by right, not by permission. And it is this calm awareness of his right that a woman reads as reliability and strength. Sign number 2. You seek her approval before making a decision. This sign is more subtle than the last and is often disguised as thoughtfulness and partnership. But its destructive power is no less potent. We're talking about the habit of asking for her permission or approval for your personal, non-joint decisions. What do you think? Should I take on this project? Do you mind if I meet up with my friends on Saturday? Honey, what do you think about me buying a new fishing rod? At first glance, this seems like a sign of respect for your partner. But on a deep, instinctual level, it broadcasts a total lack of confidence in your own decisions. The psychological root of this behavior is a fear of responsibility. By asking such a question, a man subconsciously tries to shift part of the responsibility for the outcome onto the woman. If the project fails, he can tell himself, "Well, we decided this together." If his friends turn out to be bad company, he absolves himself of some of the blame. He's not seeking advice. He's seeking a get-out-of-jail-free card. He's looking for an external support for his internal backbone, which is apparently lacking. A woman, even the most modern and emancipated, subconsciously looks for a leader in a man. Not a tyrant, but a leader, someone who can make decisions and take full, 100% responsibility for them. When a man constantly seeks her approval, he voluntarily removes the leader's mantle and puts on the subordinate's apron. He changes the role model from man-woman to son-mother. And a mother can love her son, care for him, but she will never desire or respect him the way she would a man. How does this look in her eyes? Every time he asks for her permission to live his own life, she sees weakness, not respect. She sees that he doesn't trust his own judgment. This creates a sense of anxiety in her. If he can't decide whether to meet his friends, how will he make a decision in a real crisis? How will he act when the family needs defending, when financial risks must be taken, when they face external pressure? His indecisiveness in small things projects onto the big ones. The solution here is to change the format of communication. Stop asking for permission. Start informing her of your decisions. This is the key difference. Instead of asking, "Do you mind if I meet up with my friends on Saturday?" State affirmatively, "I'm meeting up with my friends on Saturday. I'll be back by 10. Instead of, "What do you think? Should I buy this jacket?" Say, "I've decided to buy this jacket. I think it looks good on me." This doesn't mean her opinion doesn't matter. You can always ask for her advice, but the phrasing should be different. "I'm leaning towards this option. I'd be interested to hear your perspective." In this case, you remain the decision maker, and she acts as an advisor, not the approving authority. Reclaim your right to make decisions. It is the foundation of the masculine role. Sign number 3. You laugh at her jokes, even when they're not funny. This is a very subtle but incredibly telling marker. She tells a joke or tries to be witty, but the joke falls flat, it's weak, corny, unfunny. And in that moment, instead of a natural reaction, a slight smile or silence, you force out a strained social chuckle. "Ha ha, yeah, that's funny." You do it with the best intentions. You're afraid of offending her. You want to be supportive, to show you're on the same wavelength. But the result is the exact opposite. What's really happening? You are showing her your inauthenticity. A genuine, heartfelt laugh is an involuntary reaction. It's impossible to fake it without it being felt. Your forced laughter is a signal that your reaction isn't real. You are trying to please her. You are afraid of her negative reaction to the absence of your positive one. Simply put, you are showing fear. And fear is the antonym of strength. You're showing that her emotional comfort is more important to you than your own sincerity. From a psychological perspective, this is called conformity, the desire to meet the expectations of others. A man with a strong inner core, with high self-esteem, is authentic. His reactions are his own. He won't laugh if he doesn't find something funny, and he won't frown if he's happy just to please someone. A man who laughs falsely is broadcasting. My reactions depend on you. I'm willing to be insincere just to keep you happy. This is the behavior of a follower, not a leader. How does a woman perceive this? She might not realize it logically, but on an intuitive level, she will feel the dishonesty. And she will draw two conclusions. First, he can't be trusted. If he lies about something as trivial as a laugh, what's to guarantee he'll be honest about something more serious? Second conclusion, he is weak. He is afraid. He is pandering. This kills respect at its root, because respect is earned through honesty and inner strength, not through sycophancy. What's the solution? Be honest in your reactions. If the joke isn't funny, your best reaction is a light, good-natured smile. You can nod to show you are listening. That's enough. You haven't offended her, but you also haven't lied. If you have enough confidence and a good level of rapport, you can even tease her back good-naturedly, saying something like, "That was a bold attempt. I'll give you that." This is next level, showing both your complete self-confidence and your playfulness. Remember, your genuine laughter is a reward. And like any reward, it loses its value if given out undeservedly. Value your own emotions, and she will start to value them too. Sign number 4. You speak quickly and hastily pay attention to your manner of speech, especially when you're nervous or trying to convey an important thought. Do you start talking a mile a minute? Do you mumble your words? Do you speed up, trying to get all the information out in a single breath? If so, this is a powerful marker of insecurity that is read by everyone, and especially by women. The psychological underpinning of such speech is a subconscious fear. The fear of being interrupted. The fear that you won't be heard out. The fear that your thought isn't valuable enough for others to spend time on. A person who speaks quickly and disjointedly is essentially shouting to his audience, "I don't believe you'll listen to me, so I'll try to take up as little of your time as possible." This is the position of a beggar, not a giver. He rushes because he doesn't feel he has a right to the audience's attention. Now, think about how people with power, status, and confidence speak. Think of major politicians, successful entrepreneurs, even authoritative movie characters. Their speech is generally measured. It's slow. It's filled with pauses. And these pauses are not a sign that they've forgotten a word. A pause is a tool of power. It forces the listener to hang on in anticipation. It gives weight to the words that will follow. A person who speaks slowly is broadcasting. My thoughts are important. My words have weight. I know you will listen to me, so I see no reason to rush. How does a woman read this? Hasty speech is associated with anxiety, and anxiety is the direct opposite of reliability. On a biological level, a woman seeks calmness and groundedness in a man, qualities that speak to his ability to handle stress and solve problems. To her subconscious, your rushed speech is a signal. He's nervous. He's not in control of the situation. He can't be relied upon. This can completely undermine the meaning of even the smartest and most correct words you say. What to do. Slow down. Consciously. Start with a simple exercise. Try to speak 20 or even 30% slower than you're used to. At first, it will feel unnatural. You might feel like you're dragging, but that's just your internal perception. For the listener, your speech will become clearer, more substantial, and more authoritative. Use pauses. Before answering an important question, pause for 1 or 2 seconds. This shows that you're thinking about the answer, not just reflexively blurting out the first thing that comes to mind. Your speech is the music of your authority. Stop playing it at a frantic pace. Start performing it slowly and with dignity. Sign number 5. You make excuses when no one is accusing you. This is one of the most common and destructive behavioral patterns. It manifests when you start explaining and defending your actions before anyone has even voiced a complaint. It's as if you've already declared yourself guilty and are beginning to mount a defense in an imaginary trial. A classic example: you come home from work half an hour later than usual. Your wife hasn't even had a chance to say a word, and you launch into a defensive tirade from the doorway. The traffic was terrible. Everything was at a standstill. And then my boss called a last-minute meeting. I could barely get away. You are making excuses, even though no one was accusing you. Maybe she didn't even notice you were late. But you have already created a situation where you are the guilty party, and she is the judge. Another scenario: you buy yourself something you've wanted for a long time, and instead of just sharing your joy, you start justifying the purchase. I bought a new phone. The old one was barely working, and there was this great sale, so I figured it was a good investment. Again, you are defending against an attack that never happened. You are broadcasting a sense of guilt for spending money on yourself. The psychological root of this behavior is deep-seated insecurity and an expectation of punishment. This pattern often forms in childhood, when a child gets used to any action being followed by criticism or reprimand from parents. So they learn to make excuses preemptively. In adult life, this becomes a habit that signals low self-esteem and fear of authority figures, a role now played by a wife, a boss, or society at large. What does a woman see? She sees a man who feels guilty by default. She sees that he is not confident in his right to come home when he does, or to spend the money he earned. This voluntary role of the defendant automatically places her in the role of the prosecutor. Even if she had no intention of reproaching you, your defensive speech provokes her to ask clarifying questions, which will then sound like an interrogation. You create this scenario yourself. A man who is constantly making excuses cannot be perceived as strong and self-sufficient. He is perceived as a misbehaving teenager. The solution is to stop explaining your actions unless you are asked. Just state the facts. Not "I'm late because," but "I got held up at work today." Period. If she's interested in the reasons, she asks. And then you can explain calmly, without emotion or excuses. Not "I bought a phone because," but "check out the new phone I got." Share your joy, not your guilt. Your default position should be that of a person who has every right to his actions. Stop defending yourself without being attacked. This will restore your dignity and make her see you not as a guilty party, but as a self-confident man. Act 2. Weakness in action. The erosion of RESPCC. Sign number 6. You are indecisive in small things who have now moved into the realm of actions, where weakness is even more apparent. And one of the most glaring markers is your inability to make simple, everyday decisions quickly and confidently. The classic situation: it's Friday night, just the two of you, and the question arises, "What should we do?" And you reply, "I don't know, what do you want to do?" Or in a restaurant, after staring at the menu for 10 minutes, you say, "Oh, everything looks so good. I just don't know. What are you getting? Maybe I'll have the same. It seems like a small thing. It seems like a display of democracy and a desire to please your partner. But in reality, it's a catastrophe for your masculine authority. Because your indecisiveness in choosing a movie or a dish is, to our subconscious, a direct projection of your indecisiveness in more important life matters. If he can't decide which pizza to order, how can he choose the right strategy for the family during a crisis? The psychological reason for this indecisiveness is the same fear of responsibility we've already discussed. You're afraid of making the wrong choice. What if she doesn't like the movie? What if the dish isn't tasty? So you try to avoid this micro-responsibility by shifting it onto her. You want her to make the decision so that if something goes wrong, it's not your fault. This is an infantile position that completely strips you of the leadership role in the relationship. A woman, by her nature, wants to follow a man. She wants him to lead. When he presents her with a choice like, "You decide," he puts her in a difficult position. He forces her to perform a masculine function, to make a decision and lead. This tires her and causes irritation. She might make the decision, but her respect for you in that moment will drop another notch. She wanted to relax and trust you, and instead, she was forced to work as the leader in your place. What should this look like ideally? A strong, confident man always has a plan, or at least a few concrete suggestions. To the question, "What should we do tonight?" he doesn't reply, "I don't know." He replies, "I have an idea. Let's go to that new Italian restaurant and then take a walk along the riverfront." How does that sound? Notice he proposes a specific scenario, but also gives her the opportunity to adjust it. He leads, but he doesn't dictate. In the restaurant, he says, "I'm having the steak. I think you might like the fish. What do you think?" He takes the initiative again. Start practicing decisiveness in the small things. When you're asked what you want, always give a specific answer. Even if you're not 100% sure, pick something. Train this decision-making muscle. Your ability to quickly and confidently choose a movie for the evening is, for her, an unconscious signal that you can just as quickly and confidently make a more serious decision when it's required. Strength is in action, and every action begins with a decision. Sign number 7. You avoid conflict at all costs. This sign is one of the cornerstones of the good boy syndrome. It's a panicked fear of any confrontation, any argument, any expression of displeasure. You are willing to do anything to maintain the appearance of peace and harmony. Someone is rude to you in a store, you stay silent. Your wife is clearly wrong in an argument. You agree with her just so she'll stop pouting. You feel your personal boundaries are being violated, but it's easier for you to endure it than to voice your dissatisfaction. Psychologically, this is explained by a deep fear of rejection. In childhood, such a boy learned that love and approval from his parents could only be obtained by being convenient and obedient. Any expression of his own opinion that went against his parents was met with punishment or emotional coldness. And now, in adult life, you continue to use the same strategy. For you, conflict subconsciously equals the loss of love. That's why you avoid it like the plague. But what happens in reality? Your desire for a conflict-free existence leads to the exact opposite result. First, you lose respect for yourself. Every time you swallow an insult or back down from your opinion, your self-esteem drops. You betray yourself. Second, you lose the woman's respect. On an instinctual level, a woman looks for a protector in a man. A protector is someone who is not afraid of conflict when it comes to defending his interests, his family, his principles. If she sees that you can't even stand up for yourself in a minor everyday situation, a legitimate question arises in her mind. Will he be able to protect me and our children if a real threat emerges? She reads your conflict avoidance not as peacefulness, but as cowardice. She sees that you are afraid, and this fear kills her sense of security with you. Moreover, your constant yielding and smoothing things over provokes her to apply even more pressure. She will subconsciously push your boundaries further and further, trying to find the limit where you finally push back. And when she doesn't find it, she will become more and more disappointed. The solution is not to become an aggressive hothead. The solution is to learn to calmly and firmly defend your boundaries and your opinion. This is called assertiveness. If you don't like something, you need to say so. Not by yelling, not by accusing, but with a calm and clear message. For example, instead of silently tolerating her constant lateness, say, "It's important to me that we're on time. Please try not to be late next time." You're not attacking. You're stating your position. Stop being afraid of conflict. A healthy, constructive conflict is not the end of a relationship, but a necessary element of its growth. It is in arguments that truth is born and boundaries are set. A man who is not afraid of healthy confrontation commands respect. He shows that he has principles, dignity, a spine. And it is that spine that a woman wants to hold on to. Sign number 8. You let her derail your plans. You have your own affairs, your own goals, your own hobbies. You've planned to work on an important project in the evening, go to the gym, or meet a friend you haven't seen in a long time. You've told her about it in advance. But when the evening comes, she says, "Oh, I'm so tired. I feel so sad. Stay with me. Let's watch a movie." And you, with a sigh, cancel all your plans and sit down next to her on the couch. You think you're performing a noble act. In reality, you are committing an act of self-annihilation in her eyes. What's the psychological trap here? A man is defined by his mission, his path, his purpose. This can be anything: a career, a business, a hobby, a creative pursuit, a sport. It's what forms his core and fills his life with meaning. It's his vector. A woman, in turn, is very sensitive to the presence of this vector, and her attraction is directly dependent on how devoted the man is to his path. When you easily and meekly abandon your plans for the sake of her fleeting mood, you broadcast one simple message to her: my path, my goals, my purpose, they're not that important. Your mood is more important. You place her emotional state above your mission. And at that very moment, you cease to be the leader for her, the one who is interesting to follow. You become the service staff for her emotions. And you don't feel attraction for the staff. You just use them. Moreover, a woman often unconsciously tests your strength in this very way. Her request to stay is not always a real need, but a test. She's asking, in a way, how important are your plans to you? Are you willing to give them up for me? And if you answer, yes, you fail the test. You show that your world revolves around her, not around your own goals. This might please her in the moment, but in the long run, it kills her respect. She wants to be an important part of the life of a man who is on his own path, but she doesn't want to be the path itself. What's the right way to act? You don't need to be callous and indifferent. You need to show care while remaining true to your vector. The correct response in such a situation sounds something like this: I understand you're sad, and I really want to support you. Let's do this. I'll finish up what I'm doing now. It'll take about an hour, and after that, we'll spend time together. I'm all yours. I'll make us some tea, and we'll talk about everything. What do you achieve with such a response? First, you show that her feelings are important to you. Second, you demonstrate that your plans and your mission are a priority that is not subject to cancellation. You offer a compromise in which you remain the master of your time and your life. You show that you are a rock that cannot be moved by the momentary wave of her mood. And it is such a rock that she will want to lean on. Sign number 9. You complain to her about your problems. There is a fine but critical line between sharing a problem and complaining about it. Sharing is when the two of you, as a team, discuss a difficulty and look for ways to solve it. Complaining is when you dump a stream of your negativity, whining, and helplessness on her, looking not for a partner, but for a shoulder to cry on. Men who choose the second path make a fatal mistake. They come home and start saying, "My boss yelled at me again. Clients aren't paying. I'm so sick of it all. I have no energy left. I don't know what to do." They think that this kind of openness brings them closer, that by showing their vulnerability, they will become closer. But they confuse vulnerability with helplessness. Psychologically, this is an attempt to return to a child's position. When a little boy is sad, he runs to his mom, complains to her, she strokes his head, pities him, and he feels better. A man complaining to his woman is trying to replicate this scenario. He's looking for a mother in her, not a woman. He wants to offload the burden of responsibility and place it on her, at least emotionally. He wants to be pitied, but a woman doesn't want to be your mother. She wants to be your woman. And for a woman, a man is first and foremost a source of strength and support. He is the one who solves problems, not the one who moans about them. When you complain, you destroy this image. You show her your weakness in its most unattractive form. You demonstrate that you are not coping. And this causes her not sympathy, but anxiety and disappointment. Her instinct screams at her, "He is weak. He can't handle difficulties. He can't be relied upon. I am in danger." Of course, this doesn't mean you have to be a soulless robot and never talk about your difficulties. But the delivery is everything. Instead of complaining, use the format of a report and a search for a solution. Instead of, "My boss is a jerk. He yelled at me," say, "I had a tough conversation with my boss today. I'm thinking about the best way to strategize for the future to avoid such situations." Instead of, "I'm so tired, everything is awful," say, "This project is taking a lot of energy. I'll need a couple of days to recover and develop a new plan." In such a phrasing, you appear not as a victim of circumstances, but as a warrior who has encountered an obstacle and is looking for a way to overcome it. You share the problem with her, but not your helplessness. You invite her to a dialogue as an equal partner, not as a comforting mother figure. It is this approach that elicits respect and a desire to support. Women are drawn to strength, and strength is the ability to solve problems, not to drown in them. Sign number 10. You overreact to her tests. Female tests, or tests of strength, is a topic over which much ink has been spilled. Some consider them a myth, others a malicious manipulation. But the truth is, they exist, and in most cases, they happen completely unconsciously. It could be a sudden mood swing, a provocative question, a slight reprimand, or even flirting with another man in front of you. The purpose of this test is not to hurt you, but to probe your boundaries, to check your self-confidence, your inner core. Her ancient instincts constantly ask her, is he really strong? Will he break under pressure? Is he still in charge? And she, without realizing it, creates a small stressful situation to see your reaction. And this is where a weak man makes the main mistake. He reacts. And he reacts emotionally and intensely. For example, she says with a slight smirk, "You know, my ex had a shirt just like that, but it fit him better." A weak man will immediately explode. He will start making excuses. "This is an expensive shirt." Get offended. "Why are you bringing him up?" Or attack back. "Well, your ex was a loser." In any of these cases, he has failed the test. He has shown that her words have thrown him off balance. He has given her control over his emotions. He has shown his weakness. Here we can recall old Freud. He spoke of the structure of personality, consisting of the ID, ego, and superego. Well, her test is an impulse from her ID, her animal, instinctual part. And your stormy reaction is the response of your wounded ego, which has proven to be unstable. A strong man whose ego stands firm will not allow an impulse from someone else's ID to destroy his inner peace. What does the correct reaction look like? Calm, composure, and a touch of irony. To the remark about the shirt, a strong man will reply with a smirk. So, your ex had good taste, but it still looks better on me. And he'll change the subject. That's it. He didn't get offended. He didn't start an argument. He showed that his self-esteem is so high that such a small jab simply can't penetrate it. He remained a rock against which her provocative wave broke. Female tests are like sparring. She throws a light punch to see if you can hold your stance. If you start getting angry, flailing your arms, and shouting, you've lost. If you calmly block the punch and smile, you've won, and her respect for you increases tenfold. So the next time you feel she's provoking you, don't rush to react. Take a breath, exhale, and remember that it's just a test. And the best reaction to it is your unshakable calm. And this depth, this analysis on the level of psychology and instincts, this is exactly why this channel was created. If this approach resonates with you, and you're not with us yet, now is the best time to subscribe. Act 3. Weakness in status. Losing the PDSDL sign number 11. You criticize other. More successful men we are moving to the final, most important act of our diagnosis, the manifestations of weakness in social status. And one of the surest signs of a man with low self-esteem and an internal sense of his own low rank is the habit of criticizing, condemning, and belittling those who have achieved more. This manifests constantly. You watch the news and you say, "That businessman, he probably stole it all." You see a photo on social media of an acquaintance who bought a new car, and your comment is, "He got it on credit just to show off." You hear about a colleague's success and whisper, "He just got lucky," or "He's a suck-up to the boss." In each of these cases, you are not trying to lift yourself up, but to pull someone else down to make yourself look better in comparison. At the heart of this behavior is the psychology of the so-called crab mentality. If you put one crab in a bucket, it can easily get out. But if you put several in, they will pull down anyone who tries to climb out. An insecure man does the same. Instead of learning from the successful, adopting their experience and strategies, he tries to pull them down by devaluing their achievements. It's a psychological defense mechanism. If I can't be like him, I'll prove to myself and others that he's bad, and I don't need to be like him. How does a woman see this? She doesn't see your insight and critical thinking. She sees your envy and weakness. Women are instinctively drawn to leaders, to winners. When you criticize winners, you automatically place yourself in the position of a loser who stands on the sidelines and grumbles. You show that you're not in the game. You're not even on the bench. You're in the stands for disgruntled spectators. Moreover, such criticism shows your inability to grow. A man who admires another's success and tries to understand how it was achieved is a man with a growth mindset. He believes he can also achieve a lot. A man who only criticizes is a man with a fixed mindset. He doesn't believe in his own abilities, so all that's left for him is to devalue others. For a woman, this is a signal that with such a man, she can expect stagnation and gloom, not development and prosperity. What's the antidote? Admiration and analysis. The next time you see a man who is more successful than you, forbid yourself from criticizing him. Instead, ask yourself, what did he do that I didn't? What can I learn from him? Instead of saying he stole it, say he found a way. Instead of he got lucky, say he seized an opportunity. Start speaking about successful people with respect, even if you don't agree with them. This will instantly change your own positioning. You will transform from a critic loser into a student strategist. And a woman will immediately feel this change. She will see that you are looking up, not trying to pull someone down. And only those who are planning to climb look up. Sign number 12. You brag about money or connections. Marker is a direct continuation of the previous one and betrays insecurity completely. It's the habit of constantly, and often inappropriately, mentioning your financial successes, expensive purchases, status items, or influential acquaintances. I had dinner at a restaurant yesterday, dropped a few hundred. By the way, my new phone costs as much as your 2-month salary. I was talking to someone from the government the other day, and he says, to the person exhibiting this behavior, it seems like a demonstration of strength and high status. In reality, it's a demonstration of an inferiority complex. There's a simple rule: those who truly possess status never flaunt it. It can be compared to aristocracy. Old money behaves quietly and modestly. New money is loud and vulgar. A person who grew up with wealth and confidence perceives their attributes of success as something self-evident. He doesn't need to prove to anyone that he has an expensive phone. He already knows it. Bragging is for those who have recently acquired their status and are desperately afraid that others won't notice. It's the cry of an insecure person. Look at me. Acknowledge me. I am worth something. Psychologically, this is an attempt to compensate for inner emptiness with external attributes. When a man doesn't feel his own value as a person, his intelligence, charisma, willpower, he tries to substitute it with the value of his possessions or connections. He is essentially saying, by myself, I might not be very interesting, but look at my car. Look who I'm friends with. He is trying to buy respect, not earn it. What does a woman see? She doesn't see a successful man, but one who is desperately trying to appear successful. She sees his need for approval. She sees that his self-esteem depends not on his internal qualities, but on external trinkets. And this is repulsive, because true status is what remains with a man if you take away all his money and all his connections. It's his confidence, his calm, his intellect. And if, without all that, a man becomes nothing, then his value is zero. To a woman, a braggart is a person with no inner substance. How should you behave? Demonstrate your status. Don't declare it. Don't say you had dinner at an expensive restaurant. Just take her there. Don't talk about how expensive your phone is. Just use it. Don't mention your influential acquaintances unless it becomes absolutely necessary to solve a specific problem. Your status should be evident in your capabilities, your lifestyle, your calmness, not in your words. Let your actions speak for you. True power doesn't need loud advertising. It is felt in the silence. Sign number 13. You let her pay for herself in the early stages. Ideas about equality are very fashionable now. That a woman should also pay at a restaurant. That a partnership is 50-50. And on a logical and social justice level, this may sound right. But we're not talking about logic here. We're talking about the subconscious instincts that govern attraction. And from the perspective of these instincts, a situation where a man on the first few dates allows a woman to pay for herself or splits the bill is a powerful signal of his weakness and low rank. Let's understand why. For thousands of years, a man was valued primarily for his ability to be a provider and a protector. His ability to provide resources for himself, his woman, and his offspring. In the modern world, money is the equivalent of these resources. When a man pays for a woman, he is symbolically, unconsciously demonstrating to her, I am a provider. I can take care of you. With me, you will be safe and provided for. This isn't about buying her affection. It's about demonstrating his masculine competence. But when a man suggests splitting the bill Or, even worse, lets her pay, he broadcasts the opposite. I don't have enough resources. I am unable or unwilling to take care of you. I am not fulfilling my basic masculine function. He can cover it up with all sorts of ideas about equality, but her subconscious hears only one thing. He is weak. He is unreliable. This doesn't mean a woman can't be successful and earn more. It doesn't mean that in an established relationship or a family, there can't be a joint budget. We're talking specifically about the ritual of courtship, the early stages when the foundation of role models is being laid. And if at this stage a man demonstrates his inability or unwillingness to be generous and providing, he fails a crucial evolutionary test. What does a woman see? She doesn't see a modern, enlightened gentleman, but either a stingy or an unsuccessful man. And both are repulsive. Even if she has a lot of money herself, it's important for her to see his willingness to spend his resources on her. It's a symbolic act that speaks to his intentions and his potential. If a man is cheap with her on the first date, she concludes that he will be cheap with her and the family for the rest of their lives. It's a signal of scarcity, and women instinctively flee from scarcity towards abundance. What should your behavior be? During the courtship phase, the question, who pays, shouldn't even come up. It's your prerogative. When the bill comes, you silently and confidently put your card down. There's no need to make a show of it, no need to discuss the amount. Just do it. If she offers to pay her share, you should politely but firmly decline. Say something like, "It would be my pleasure to treat you." This will show your generosity, your confidence, and your respect for the traditional roles that, no matter how much we try to abolish them, continue to work on a deep level. Generosity is a demonstration of strength, and women always react positively to strength. Sign number 14. You can't handle rejection gracefully, A. Man's ability to react to the word no is one of the most accurate tests of his maturity and inner strength. The rejection can be about anything. She didn't give you her phone number, refused to go on a date, didn't want to be intimate, said no to your request. And at that moment, a weak man reveals himself in all his glory. His reaction can vary, but it's always emotional and inappropriate. The first type of reaction is aggression and accusations. Who do you think you are? Who would want you anyway? I wasted my time on you? This is the reaction of a man whose ego has been wounded. He can't cope with the blow to his self-esteem and tries to humiliate the woman in return to somehow compensate for his feeling of worthlessness. He shows that his interest in her was insincere, and the rejection has exposed his true face, that of a bitter and angry loser. The second type is whining and trying to evoke pity. But why? Please, just give me a chance. What did I do wrong? He starts to plead, to beg, to press on her pity. This is the reaction of a little boy whose mother refused to buy him a toy. He demonstrates a complete lack of self-respect and puts himself in the humiliating position of a beggar. Such a reaction causes not sympathy in a woman, but disgust and a desire to get away from him as quickly as possible. The third type is a hidden resentment. He might not say anything, but his face will turn sour. He'll give one-word answers, showing with his whole demeanor how deeply he's been hurt. This is passive aggression, which is no less repulsive than the overt kind. He's trying to manipulate her, to make her feel guilty for her refusal. Why are all these reactions a sign of weakness? Because they show that this man's self-esteem is not internal, but external. It is completely dependent on her approval. Her yes makes him happy. Her no destroys him. He is like a balloon that can be inflated or deflated with a single word. He has no inner core, no intrinsic value that is independent of the opinion of one particular woman. How does a strong man react? Calmly and with dignity. He accepts her no as a given. He respects her choice. To a refusal to go on a date, he will smile and say, "Okay, I understand. In any case, it was nice to meet you. Have a great evening." And he will walk away. That's it. He won't demand reasons. He won't be offended. He has shown that his world has not collapsed. He has shown that his self-esteem is perfectly intact. He is essentially saying, "Your refusal is your choice. It doesn't affect my value. I'm okay. I'm moving on." Such a reaction has a stunning effect on a woman. Sometimes it can even make her change her mind, because a calm acceptance of rejection is a demonstration of immense inner strength. It shows that you are a man of high value who has options. And it is to such men that women are drawn. Learn to accept no with a smile, and you will see how often it starts to turn into yes. Sign number 15. You put her on a pedestal and make her the center of your universe. We have reached the last, most important, and most destructive sign of weakness. It is the quintessence of all the previous ones. This is the idealization of a woman, placing her on a pedestal and turning her into the sole meaning and center of your life. You stop living your own life, seeing your friends, pursuing your hobbies, striving for your goals, because all your time, all your energy, all your thoughts now revolve only around her. You think this is true love and romance, the kind written about in books. You think that by showing her how much she means to you, you will win her heart forever. But you are making the most terrible mistake imaginable. You are single-handedly killing her attraction to you, because no healthy woman wants to be the center of someone's universe. She wants to be a companion to a man who has his own universe. Here, Carl Jung and his concept of the anima come to our aid. To put it very simply, the anima is the unconscious feminine image within every man. When a man falls in love, he often projects this idealized image onto a real woman. He falls in love not with her, the real person with her flaws and weaknesses, but with his projection, his ideal. And he begins to worship this ideal. He puts her on a pedestal. But a pedestal is a place for a statue, not for a living person. On it, she feels trapped. She cannot be herself. She is afraid of not living up to your perfect image. What happens next? A man who has no center of his own, no mission, completely dissolves into her. He becomes her shadow. His mood depends on her mood. Her smile makes him happy. Her frown plunges him into depression. He loses himself as a person. And a woman cannot love a shadow. She cannot respect someone who has given up himself for her. This causes not love in her, but contempt and a feeling of suffocation. She gets bored. She feels responsible for his happiness, and that is an unbearable burden. The man who is attractive is the one who has his own world. A world where he has his work, his goals, his friends, his passions. And he invites a woman into this world of his as the most honored guest. He gives her the best place in this world, but he does not make her the world itself. He remains the main character of his own story, and she is his beautiful companion. This is the model that creates attraction and respect. Therefore, if you feel that a woman has become everything to you, it is an alarm signal. It means you have nothing else. Immediately shift the focus back to yourself. Remember your goals. Call your friends. Go to the gym. Start reading books. Fill your life with meaning that does not depend on her. Your main task is to be interesting to yourself. Only then will you be truly interesting to her. Take her off the pedestal. Place her beside you and walk through life together, but each on your own 2 feet. This is the formula for a healthy and passionate relationship. Conclusion. Strength is CLM. We have analyzed 15 non-obvious, but deadly dangerous signs of weakness for a man's authority. And if you were honest with yourself during this diagnosis, you probably found at least a few of them in yourself. And that's normal. What matters is not where you are now, but where you have decided to go. The main conclusion we should draw is this: true masculine strength is not aggression, not rudeness, and not dictatorship. It is calm, a calm confidence in oneself, in one's decisions, in one's right to be oneself. It is an inner core that does not break under the pressure of female tests, life's difficulties, or others' opinions. By getting rid of these 15 markers, you will not become a bad boy or an egoist. You will become a man whose calmness and self-sufficiency will attract respect and desire on the deepest, subconscious level. You will stop fussing, making excuses, and pandering. You will start acting, leading, and taking responsibility. You will get yourself back. And that is the most attractive thing a man can have. And now the main question for you, for our community of thinking men. Which of these 15 points was the biggest revelation for you, or, on the contrary, seemed the most controversial? Write the number of the point and a few words in the comments. I don't need your agreement. I need your honest reflection. We will discuss the most profound and interesting comments in a future episode. Today, we have analyzed in detail 15 markers of weakness. But the main question is, what to do about it? How not just to remove these habits, but to build a foundation of calm, unshakable confidence in their place. We will talk about this step-by-step plan in the next video. To not miss it, make sure you are not only subscribed, but have also hit the notification bell.